Contrary to most works of philosophy, Plato's work actually features characters, most notably his master, Socrates, who is usually the principal character. These works aren't really narrative-driven enough to call him a protagonist, so we say principal character. One of the problems I have with these works is that yes, they're old, yes, they've been highly influential, yes, they're masterful works which should by no means be neglected, but the actual logic behind some of these conclusions fails the test of concept superficiality. For example, in Euthyphro, we go through this long, winding argument which eventually results in the conclusion that holiness as a concept is a form of justice. It's neat, it's novel, it's a compelling way to look at it based on the arguments, but it falls into the superficial category. And what that means is that essentially we're arriving at some semantic conclusion which seems somewhat profound upon arrival, but it doesn't have any really serious implications about how we should behave pragmatically in the world. That being said, I do not want to deter you from reading this brilliant work. It's a paradigm-shifting experience to read. So even though some of the philosophical takeaways are hollow by modern standards of analysis, these works are still absolutely 1000% worth reading for a number of reasons. Perhaps the most notable reason is because these works teach you how to argue. And before we proceed with the analysis, let's dissect the word argue, because I believe the word has turned to have a profane interpretation in common parlance, to be associated with vitriolic screaming matches or stubborn disagreement. Argument in the Socratic sense simply refers to the open and honest interplay of opposing perspectives. Honest curiosity with honest attempts to answer the questions born of said curiosity is another common feature of Socratic arguments. Yet surely others have argued this way. Now, let's do something fun. To apply a very Platonic question to the Socratic argument itself, what is that one characteristic feature that really distinguishes Socratic argument? What you'll notice if you read Plato's works is that Socrates always remains humble, always retains an attitude that he himself is the student, even if he is a highly respected philosopher of Athens. Now, here's my claim. To have this attitude that I'm describing is actually the core ingredient of the Socratic method, because what actually is the Socratic method? It's essentially to guide your interlocutor without directly injecting your own arguments, to ask honest questions, to probe curiously while constantly seeking validation, to constantly confirm with your interlocutor whether he agrees with you or not. And that is the Socratic method. It's actually sort of sycophantic in that sense. Where it becomes interesting is how you interpret this supposed innocence of Socrates'. Oftentimes he asks questions that he ostensibly already knows the answer to, and yet seems to ask them with absolute sincerity. How do we interpret that? Could it be that Socrates really was this wise so as to completely release his ego? Could it be that he was genuinely open to an answer contrary to that which seemed so obvious to him? Other scholars have suggested this was a manipulative tactic on the part of Socrates. It is definitely a cool sort of ethical debate, but a simple fact remains unchanged. Whether he's employing this practice of false humility or is truly a man of innocence does not change that the practice is highly effective at achieving the goal, which is to reveal the truth. As such, in my opinion, the question of whether Socrates' methods were truly innocent is really not that important. Let's take a look at both types of people. Take a person who is manipulative, conniving, Machiavellian sort who wants to trick someone into believing some abstract technical nonsense. Take another person, totally innocent, seeking the truth. Let's say both of them employ the Socratic method, one of them motivated purely, one of them motivated by something else. How long can the manipulative person really hold out? The very nature of the Socratic method is that the truth emerges naturally out of a beautiful mixture of curiosity and criticism. And it's via the interplay between the opposing voices that the truth develops. The problem with our modern dialogues is that they are always one-sided. We've lost the interplay. Take the presidential debates as an example. Yes, of course, Donald Trump is the one who completely shocked the system by using widely inappropriate rhetoric, but what I'm talking about extends far beyond Trumpism. Take any debate on live TV between politicians. What we see are people answering questions from moderators, giving their perspective, giving their monologue, hitting all the buzzwords, and then what? Maybe somebody responds for a couple minutes, defending against all the ad hominem attacks, and then we just move on to the next person. Yes, they allow responses, but they're brief, and there's no substance, there's no engagement, there's no effort to merge these opposing voices into a dialogue. into an argument. The thing is, a lot of these issues aren't really that complicated. It's just honestly sad to see when you could just give 5 minutes of time to really listen and respond to each other, everyone would walk away smarter. But that's not necessarily as entertaining, which is a shame. When money's involved, things always tend to get corrupt. So employ the Socratic method. Ask people questions. Plato's works from over 2 millennia ago stand the test of time for a reason. They are a priceless demonstration of how it is we should think. So let me know what you think of this in the comments. If you want to get to know me, click the link below. I offer a whole variety of services, including, but not limited to, guided coaching to help you meet your reading goals, all for free. My methods are highly efficacious and there's actual research to support them. I look forward to hearing from you, and thanks. That's all.